All right. Well, thank you. And welcome everyone for attending our overview of library services in response to COVID-19 here at Penfield Library. I'm just to give a presentation today about what we've done and what we plan to do going into this spring semester. And you'll hear from four of us today at Penfield Library. Um, we will ask that if you have any questions, you can either hold them towards the end because we do want to leave time for anyone to be able to ask us anything that's covered today or anything else that may be on your mind. And also, if you do have questions, you can also use the chat. It will be monitored, and we can try to respond to your questions in real time, or if they are a little more detailed, we'll kind of bring them up at the end. But so first, as we move on, just for some introductions, I'm first going to introduce Erin Kowalski.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. My name is Erin Kowalski. I am the Access Services Librarian at Penfield. I handle course reserves. So I expect we usually have a lot of questions. I think we'll have some today. I'm happy to help out. I will be talking about course reserves in our presentation, but in general, if you ever have questions or need any help, please reach out. Happy to help. And then next we have Morgan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Morgan Bond. I'm the Resource Sharing Librarian, aka Interlibrary Loan. If you have any questions about Interlibrary Loan at any time, feel free to reach out to me. And next up, we have Sarah Weissman, our director.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is Sarah Wiseman. I'm the library director, and I'm here, as you can see with my face, for any questions about anything to do with the library. And when you want the detailed answers, I will refer you on to the expert staff that we have on hand. So thanks for joining us today. And now turn you back to Zach.
Hi, and again, I'm Zach Vickery. I'm the Archives and Special Collections the College Archives. The College Archivist Librarian. There we go. I got a little tripped up there with reading about what department I'm in, which is Archives and Special Collections. So if you have any questions about anything that's pertaining to the history of the college, or really anything that could be in our collections in general, feel free to reach out to myself or our staff in the department. So as we transition into our response to library services during the COVID-19 pandemic, the first thing that we kind of want to let everyone know of is that one of our approaches was to create a guide for everything that we're doing. And it was determined that the best way that we could do this is to have one centralized place for all this information to be found. And so on our website is where you can find this guide. And while there's a link in this presentation as well, you should be able to find it if you were to go to our website at oswego.edu/library. You can see there's a little screenshot here of where it should be right at the top in a red bar that'll say, please refer to our guide. And just as a little insight into it, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And hopefully you can see this guide will have information about changes that affect everyone, our expectations for users, and other spaces located in the library. If there's things that are specific to faculty and staff, we will have them. You can click on that and it'll go right down to it, where it'll maybe talk about course reserves, how to check out a book, how we are providing access to ebooks and full text articles. If there's something that you want to take from the library and upload it into Blackboard, we can kind of navigate you or direct you in those ways. If we go again on this guide, our expectations for users, so it also sort of lines out or lays out what when it comes to masks, when it comes to social distancing, the library and furniture spaces, all that information as it changes is put into this guide, updated constantly. So one of the things that we want to stress, to go back to this, is that the guide will sort of supersede everything that you may find on our website. So if there's if you find something about a room that may be open, refer to the guide first to make sure that are the rooms actually available for use for signing up, for reserving, things like that. If anything changes, it will be on this library guide for COVID-19. And so I just wanted to let everyone know, first of all, if you have any questions, refer to there first. So next, this should work. I'll close those up. We'll go off to building access, and I'm going to hand this off to Erin.
Okay, so in order to access the library, you must be current student, staff, or faculty member. You will want to have your ID card with you. We have a card swipe to open the door, otherwise they will be locked. So you'll just go into the vestibule, there's a card swipe in there, swipe your card, you'll get in through the door that's all the way on the left side. If you have problems with the card swipe, there is an email address here you can use to get that resolved. And don't worry about remembering this. This is also posted above the card swiper in the vestibule. So if you do have problems, the notice is right there. And they're pretty quick to respond and get that fixed for you. Or you can just knock on the door and somebody will help you in. We did have to reduce our hours in the fall, and we'll be maintaining the same schedule in the spring semester. So we're open basically from 8 to 7, Monday through Thursday. The library is closed for 1 hour from 3 to 4 to sterilize everything. Friday, we're open from 8 to 4:30, and there's no cleaning on Fridays. And then on Sunday, we are open from 12 to 7, again with the 1 hour from 3 to 4 closed for cleaning. And that is just past the library gates. You can still get into the building the rest of the time if you needed to access the cafe or the 24-hour room. Those are not closed for cleaning, so you can still get in the building. It's just getting past the library gates during that time. And then the 24-hour room, we actually did expand the space. We included an extra computer lab, so there are more computers and more space to spread out so that students can socially distance 24 hours a day. As far as other spaces in the library, we are still offering our study carols. We do reserve some of those for faculty. So if you would like to request one, we open up the application on the first day of classes, and you'll find that on the website. We do also have our group study rooms. We've limited the capacity to 1 to 2 people. And we do also still have our media rooms and other spaces. All of our social distancing guidelines are provided. So you'll find arrows on the floor, you'll find chairs blocked off. Things are pretty much mapped out as far as, where it's safe to sit. And we do require masks at all times, everywhere in the library. The one exception are the individual carols, because they do have an enclosed space where people can safely take off their mask, but everywhere else they're required. So for our collections, we have discontinued checking out our equipment. So that would be chargers, laptops, cameras, that sort of thing. We are working with CTS to lend those items, however. So if you do have technology needs, you can reach out to the help desk. They will get you set up, and we will loan equipment to you. Everything else can be requested for pickup. So any collections on our 2nd and 3rd floor, if you need any books or materials, you can actually go into our catalog and request them. We do have instructions on how to do this on the webpage, but the sort of quick and dirty rundown is you just look up the item in the catalog. You'll need to make sure that you're signed in, and then you will see this link to request for pickup. You click that, you make the request, and then you'll get a notice as soon as it's ready for you to come and get it, and you'll just pick it up at the circulation window once that's ready. To make returns, we are not accepting items at the desk. You'll find that it is completely enclosed by plexiglass, but we do have our book drop open 24/7. So you can access at any time in the vestibule, just place any of your returns there. If you're not on campus, you can mail returns to us. There are also other SUNY schools that will take your books. So if you are closer to another school, there's a link there where you can find the ones that are accepting. You can actually just drop it off there. They will mail it to us, and your items will be returned that way. And then just as a note, if if anybody, students and faculty included, end up with an item that's like severely overdue, it's marked lost, and there's a replacement fine issued, as long as the item comes back to us, we take the fine away for anything that's owned by Penfield. So don't let that, especially for your students, don't let that prevent them from just bringing materials back. We're not going to charge them as long as they return it. So if they get it back to us one way or another, we'll waive those fines. Okay, and so course reserves. This is similar to equipment. We are not circulating our course reserves this semester. However, we do still pull all of the items. So we get a textbook list from the bookstore. So any materials that you're using for your course, if the library owns it, we actually pull it from circulation and we set it aside. We won't be checking those out to students unless you make a special request. And I wanted to point that out because we did do this for several students in the fall. If they had a critical need for the book, we can give it to one student. So if you need that, just let us know. We will have it set aside so that we can do that for you. Or if you happen to need it for your own course, if you want to make scans, if you want us to scan the item, we will have it available to do that. We can also add digital items to course reserve. So if you want to just make quick and easy links to articles or ebooks that we have in our databases and in the catalog, we can do that. We'll set that up for you. There's a link on our course reserve page to request that. If you have any questions, you can email the reserves email address, or you can ask me. I'm happy to help out. And we also piloted this program for controlled digital lending in the fall, and we're happy to continue doing this if there's any need for it. What we can do is scan portions of a textbook. We can't do the whole thing, mostly because we're limited by the size of the file. But if there are specific chapters that you'd like to make available, we can scan portions of the book, and we can actually share the file similar to the way course reserves would function normally, which is one student at a time for a limited amount of time. I wouldn't recommend this in place of purchasing a textbook because of the limited lending capability we have. But if you had a student that was in dire straits and this was the only way they could get it, we're happy to do this. If there's only a couple students that need it, we could just share it with them, and there's no problem there. Again, if you have any questions, you can email reserves or me personally, and I'm happy to help you out.
Right, and I'm going to talk to you guys about reference. We are still offering reference through chat, Zoom, and email. And the chat service is available 24/7, and this is something we share with our students too. You're still speaking to a librarian, but after Penfield hours, it'll be a librarian from one of our partner institutions. Peer reference hours are Monday through Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. These time slots are staffed by students been trained to provide basic reference assistance. And then if it's a more complicated reference interaction, they can refer the person to a librarian to help with that. We will be offering workshops that will focus on specific topics like citations, business research, biology research, whatever the specialty for that librarian who's assigned to that time slot is. But any and all research questions are always welcome during those time slots, same as any other reference time. And instruction does look a little different, as I'm sure you all know. The school liaison structure that many of you are familiar with did have to be changed on our end. So we're now broken up into two groups. The first one is the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And I've included the email address that you can email to get a hold of that team. The second is the School of Communication, Media and Arts, Education and Business. And again, that email address is also included on this slide. We are offering various formats for instruction. So asynchronous, we're doing videos and resource guides, as well as synchronous. If you'd prefer, we come to your class and do like a live Zoom session, we're happy to. We've also, some of us, done a combination of asynchronous as well as synchronous. So we might provide a video or how-to guide, tutorials, and then follow up with a live Q&A session with your students. For those of us that have tried, that has worked really well. We're also trying to do instructional session surveys. Some people have had a lot of luck with doing a survey before the class to judge incoming knowledge, what students already know about research or using library resources, and then afterwards to gauge what they've learned and to improve future sessions.
Okay, so traditionally we accept requests for materials throughout the semester, and faculty and staff will request that we purchase something, and almost always our answer in the past has been, yes, we're delighted to purchase things for you, particularly one-off kinds of items. But the reality is this semester is very different. So I'm sure everyone has heard about the budget problems that the entire campus, the state is having. So we did have a 25% reduction to the library budget. The majority of our library resources budget goes to databases in the first place. And with databases, if you have ever requested that we purchase a database in the past, we're a lot less flexible on being able just to start a database subscription because they are an annual subscription and they cost more. So when we've had requests for the one-off kinds of items, so books, films, again, whether electronic or print format, we've generally been able to honor those and purchase those items. And right now we're simply not able to do that. We also, because of the 25% reduction, we have had to cancel some databases, and some of those have already been canceled as of the fall, and some are still coming. The cancellations are still coming in the spring, and some are going to come mid-semester. And so we realize that that's disruptive and not great, but the timing of that, just so you know, it's all due to the subscription start dates. So that's really beyond our control, unfortunately. So all we can do is tell you, plan ahead. On the COVID guide that Zach showed you earlier, there is a section, the changes that affect faculty and staff. And there, within that grouping, there were two other sections below the first section where you can expand, and one is about collections. So that's where we have a list of the databases that expired in the fall or will be expiring in the spring. We actually have to do a couple of updates still to that list. So starting either later today or tomorrow, take a look at that list and you can see the most up-to-date record of of what we will have going forward. It is possible because of the way the funding has been released, we may have some funds this spring and may be able to purchase some things. What we'll have to do it. We just don't know yet is the reality. When we are able to purchase things, we are prioritizing things by electronic format first, since again, as I see many of you are, in your homes today. So we want to make sure that the things that we do buy are available to the majority of people, many of whom are just, online. So we'll prioritize by electronic format. We'll look at the criticality of the resource for the students and for the class. So for example, if you're teaching a class and you must have a film to deliver the curriculum and we need to get that film through Canopy, that's something that we will purchase. Or if you have something that the students are absolutely going to be assigned to use as a supplemental resource. And another factor that we use for priority is the number of students. If you've got a very large class and a lot of people are going to use it, that goes to the higher level of priority for purchase. So if you do have items that you are interested in, please still reach out to us and request the item, but just know that we may not be able to buy it now, but we'll still try to buy it at some point for you in the future if we can. On to Interlibrary Loan.
So just a few quick things to discuss with everyone. We are still borrowing items from other libraries, but we are quarantining them for 5 days on arrival. So please plan accordingly and order your materials well in advance. Other institutions are doing the same thing. So things have really slowed down in terms of interlibrary loan sharing. Requested items are checked out ahead of pickup. So you'll receive a notice when they've been checked out to your account and are ready to be picked up. That's something new, so don't be surprised when you see that. Unfortunately, due to the budget changes, we're not shipping things home for distance students. and we're unable to provide purchase on demand for articles, theses, things like that, that we would normally pay for. If something will cost and you've requested it, we'll reach out to you and ask if you would like to have us order it and you can reimburse us for it. That's still an option. So please check your email frequently and respond as soon as possible so that we can send those out. We are still providing scans of materials in-house as well as from other institutions. So if you're unable to make it to campus, but you'd like scans of specific chapters or pages within copyright limitations, please submit a document delivery request to us. And you can see on the slide, I've highlighted a section at the bottom to manually request pages to be scanned. You can click that link and log in, and we will scan it as soon as possible.
Okay, we have a number of programs or events that we've scheduled for the spring. We always have Penfield Loves You Day as our traditional celebration where we express our love for the community that we time with Valentine's Day. So this year that will be on Friday, February 12th. And we're still developing plans for exactly what we'll be doing, but we'll be having some sort of virtual Valentine making and provide an opportunity for crafts. We will not be able to provide snacks, unfortunately. So that's disappointing. That's always a big part of Penfield Loves You Day that we'll miss this year. But we'll still be expressing our love for you, our patrons, faculty, staff, and students. Another tradition that we have started a few years ago was Maker Madness, and that has been a huge event where we've drawn hundreds of people from the community to come on a Saturday in celebration of International Women's Day to make things. It's a big maker event with a STEM focus. And this year we're doing a pandemic edition. So it'll be entirely virtual. There'll be a kickoff on March 8th, which will be a virtual trivia. And then there will be additional events throughout the month of March. And this is, again, is a partnership with Zonta Club of Oswego. And once again, it will not be the same as our in-person experience, but it should still be fun. So watch for that. And finally, we also will continue with our Display to Archives virtual celebration. Then we'll do that on Tuesday, April 13th. That is the day before Quest. And so we'll announce the time at a later date. And I encourage you and your colleagues to submit your articles or your creative work to archives@oswego.edu and then to be featured in the slideshow for that year.
Okay. And so just talk a little bit about as well some other parts of the library that are active for the spring semester, Oswego DL and the SUNY Open Access Repository. So there are two things here on this slide. One, on the left-hand side, the Oswego Digital Library. You may know it as Oswego DL. This is an area where materials that are found, items that are found in archives and special collections that have been digitized are placed into this area where you can search, you can find things that may be resources that you can use inside the classroom. We do continue to add things to it and also encourage others to add to it as well. Anyone can participate in adding to the digital library. One example is the Great Lake Review. They add in all of their published editions of their, I think they do it twice a year. Their copies get added into Oswego DL. Another thing that was a big thing last year was Quest, and how the presentations, whether they're posters or they're papers or anything that the students had submitted for Quest, those were all added into Oswego DL. And the plan is for that to continue this year as well. While there will be live presentations and recorded presentations, all of those will hopefully end up in Oswego DL as well. And the way that happens is encouragement from from Quest, from the faculty, to make sure that students are submitting those things into the digital library. So you can check out Oswego DL, you can search through it, you can see the different collections that are created. And if there is anything that you'd like to see us add or expand on inside that collection, please let us know in the archives department. So archives@oswego.edu. And then another thing going into this spring semester is we have now created an area called the SUNY Open Access Repository. You may also be heard as SOAR kind of going on in the future. This is an area where it fulfills the requirement for the SUNY Open Access, or the SUNY Oswego Open Access Policy that was created back in November of 2019. It's an area for authors on campus here, so primarily faculty and staff who have works that are published. They can deposit their articles into an open access repository. Anyone can be able to search through them, find them, download their articles. And you, as the author, still retain rights to the articles. You get to determine what the Creative Commons licensing is. And you're also allowing the institution, you're allowing SUNY Oswego to have a platform to distribute that to others in a digital sense. So you'll hear more about this probably in the next coming week or two as we push this out. There will also be a guide, or there is a guide already for this that's been created. So if you do have any questions, you might be able to find them through there. There'll also be a process for submitting them in the guide as well. So just to be aware of something like that is coming up, and this is in direct response to the open access policy that was created. So we are going forward with it and making it so that you, as faculty and staff, have an area to be able to deposit your works in a way that anyone can get to. Okay, and then
struggling to find my mute button. So we do have social media channels, and I encourage you to follow us on those. We had an intern last semester who was posting items for us, and now we have we're going to be utilizing some of our peer reference assistants this semester to post content for us on our social media channels, and we'll be posting, the events that we're doing, as well as highlighting some things that perhaps that you guys are doing. We'll be happy to, to boost your posts as well. So please, you can follow those. And on YouTube, we do post some of our instructional videos and materials, so you can check out our holdings there as well. And there are links to the social media channels from our webpage as well.
There we go. Now that I'm unmuted, you might be able to hear me. And so, as you can see, we've kind of left quite a bit of time for people to ask questions. Right now, it's almost 10:30, and I believe that this session goes until 10:50. If there's anything that's been brought up in today's session that you have a question about, or something that we may not have covered, please feel free to ask away. If you want to be on camera and ask, if you want to ask in chat, we encourage you to do so because you have the opportunity right now.
I have a couple of questions. This is Joe Stab. First, is there any plan to have any sort of expanded access hours around like peak times? So I think midterms or finals when papers are due?
Hi, Joe. There are no plans. There are no plans at this point to have expanded hours. We're really limited in staffing, which is one issue. But we have also been really tracking how many people are using the space and using the building, and we're not seeing lots of people using the building. So we don't have plans for expanded hours at this point. As actually, I don't remember who said it earlier. As someone mentioned earlier, we did expand the 24-hour space. So we have both the 24-hour room and also the computer lab that is adjoining it that are available for students. And we have not reached peak in any of those areas so far or last semester.
Sorry, I probably should have clarified. I meant more digitally access, not physically access. So every semester I have 60 students taking PR research that all do a 50-page research paper. I know Colleen's dealt with them and everything, but I teach that entirely online. Like I have 2 sections this semester, so I'll have 60 students in research alone. So, and I know they heavily access resources in the library and have in the past. So I just want to make sure I can properly communicate to them if there's going to be changes. So, but they're not physically accessing the library.
Okay, so are you thinking then of reference librarian assistants?
Yeah, I think they mostly use the reference librarian.
Okay. So with that example, we could arrange to have a workshop for your students, either as like a kickoff to their work or a drop-in time that's kind of targeted for your students, or a few drop-in times, if that would be helpful. We can definitely work.
I think that would.
Okay, we could definitely work with you on that.
And I can send over the syllabus so you can see when parts of their drafts are due. If that would help, we can maybe have a side conversation about that and I can share that with you.
That's great. I think we would be happy to work with you on that.
I know the librarians I used to work with have retired. So, and they were very familiar with the projects, and many students went directly to them for that help. So others might not have seen that.
Okay, great.
The other question I have, and I know this is an ongoing kind of issue for me, there are several books that I normally have on reserve, and Colleen has always been very patient with me, that absolutely, their digital editions absolutely do not exist because they are the seminal works in public relations. So any of the books by Bernays or Simon, and I get all the nasty grams because I've had them in my office for the past year, checked out from the library. And I literally just returned them the other day because I kept getting the threats from the computer. But many of those books my students use, they are the seminal works in public relations, and I reference them a lot, so students use them a lot. They were all printed in like 1923, 1954. I mean, digital versions just don't exist. They are only in print. They're out of print now. You can't even buy new copies. So can we work on a way for me to make those accessible to not only, I mean, moving forward, but we have our online degree program that I need those accessible for also. So not just COVID, but I have online degree students that will need to be able to access those materials, and digital versions don't exist. So maybe that's something we can talk about also.
Yeah, I think for those books, that would be a really good opportunity to control digital lending. So we can scan them, we'll make PDFs of the books, and then we can, it's sort of similar to the way like Overdrive works in the public library. We'll share the file with one student at a time. After a certain number of hours, we unshare it, and then we can give it to the next student in line. So that's something that we can do going forward. That we just need the list of the books that you have, and then we do have to hold the copy of them in the library so that we can't lend them to anybody else. And then they would just send us an email whenever they want access, and we'll share it with them. It's no problem.
Okay, I can pop over since I live on campus and pull the books. I'm sure Colleen knows exactly what books I'm talking about because I always have them on reserve, on permanent reserve.
She
So
probably has them in her office right now. Okay, sounds great.
Perfect. That's all I had. Thank you.
There's a question in chat about when the library workshop schedule will be posted.
We are still developing the schedule of library workshops. So when do you need it posted? I think we might have it ready in probably a week and a half. Would that be sufficient, Pat? Oh, he may not be able to respond. Okay, well, we're going to aim for a week to a week and a half.
There's a message. I got a message saying that would work.
Okay, great. And I just, for Joe, for your benefit, particularly since you said you're coming in, I just put into chat too that until February 1st, when students return, our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll schedule a time when someone's going to be there, unless you all are coming in, and then I'll just pop over then. It's just a walk over from Hart Hall anyways for me, so.
Do we have any other questions for the library pertaining to library services for this upcoming semester? I know that we might be able to only speak for the spring semester. The summer may look different and the fall may look different. So we will do our best to try to help see into the future as far as we can. But we want to just let everyone know of what resources that we have and where you can find them for this upcoming semester, because we do hope that as things change, that you know where to find it and you know who to reach out to. Okay. Well, if anyone else has any questions later on, feel free to contact any of us that with the information that's listed in the slideshow and the video that will be up later. I want to thank everyone for coming to today's presentation about library services in Penfield Library for COVID-19. And I do also want to thank Sarah, Aaron, and Morgan for joining us today and providing the insight into what we hope that everyone would want to know about library services. So again, thank you very much for attending, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.